Hello and welcome back to Factorio. This is something of a red letter day. We have burnt through the whole of our starter patch of coal. So I'm in the process of decommissioning it. The intention is to replace all of this with accumulators. It's pretty much dead space. Excuse me, I can't bring trains into here realistically. So yeah, we're going to use this space for storing power. Now, I'm having issues managing my inventory, and a lot of it is items where I've requested some, but haven't set an upper limit. So I'm just trying to whack-a-mole it at the moment, getting rid of things that are surplus to requirement. And so there's been quite a bit of time has passed between the last recording and this one. And the reason is over here. I don't know if you remember, we had a wall here and we had a wall here. And I was increasingly getting attacks both here and here. So I have pushed forward. Actually ended up with this dead end here, so this oil. This is a dead end over here, so there's a coal patch and a copper, should I need them, and some stone. So we've walled off here, and then I had to stop myself because once you got to here, I could wall off here to get this. If I walled off to here, it's tempting to wall off there and there. Yeah, it just all goes on and on. This actually joins up with this, so it was tempting to cut off basically there to get this section, cut off over here, maybe on that, and then cut off here to get that whole section. Anyway, I actually don't need the space, and I found it really challenging to do, actually. So this is my power armor set out. I'm on solar panels still because I don't have gold science. And so I was doing lasers on a stick turret creep. I needed a Mark II shield because the the spit from the large worms was just insta-killing me without shield. I needed 2 roboports because I needed the range to be able to put down the lasers. I tried it with 1 roboport and I just couldn't put down the lasers far enough away from my body to avoid myself being the primary target. So anyway, that's where I am. I'm sorry I didn't do it on camera. I don't think you watching me dying repeatedly is particularly good entertainment. I'm not very good at combat, and you know I don't have the kit for it yet. Right, what do I need to get rid of? Small electric poles. Well, I don't want them. And roboports. Seriously, 10 is adequate. Okay, so what we're going to do is put down these. And we can put down a second stamp. So there. And I don't think we actually need those, to be honest, because now all the traffic goes horizontal. So let's put this down there. Okay, so this will fail to build because there are no... So let's have this request accumulators. And do I need to request... I probably need to request power poles as well. I can do 1 stack because they're fairly cheap items. I can trash them later and it won't matter. Oh, I'm really frustrated with the control for these things. Alright, and then we can move this across the gap. Okay, and then this needs to go into a couple of provider boxes. And these need to be capped to 1 stack, because otherwise I'll move far too much stuff through. Oh, and of course, all my medium power poles went away because I ended up placing them all down in that that capacitor farm. Okay, so let's hope one gets brought in. Yeah, I've got 50. I'm requesting 50 medium power poles, so that should come in. What else has been going on? So we have Purple Science Crafting, so it's made 570. We are waiting for rail, I'm guessing. Which is a little odd. This wants a rail train, this wants a rail train. So there's something up with the rail trains. I've had issues with the trains now and again. Right, so we've got a full train of modules. We are waiting on a train of rail. Okay, so where is that train of rail? Is this the... Yeah, so this is a full rail train. Okay, so let's just follow it around and make sure it's doing the right thing. So that comes in there. Parks. That's... Okay, so that was marked down as empty. Let's watch what it does, because I'd like to understand how this went wrong. So I still have a power situation. At night time, we are still losing power. It's browning out. And that's still causing trains to do crazy things. So I'm just going to watch this to see what it does. I haven't fixed this junction yet, because it's got a green science build blocking it being fixed. Okay, so that comes here. Right, it's full ready. So it goes to the full station. And let's watch it on the map. So yeah, I've had lots of little glitches with Train Supply Manager, most of which I'm happy to chalk up to my power system going on and off and creeping out the combinators which are calling in the trains. There have been a couple of glitches which I can't chalk up to that. There seems to be an issue where periodically requester stations get stuck with no incoming train, but with a 1 on the incoming train signal. And I'm not really sure why that is or how it works, but it is quite frustrating, and it has the effect. Right, let's watch this actually happen. Oh, I'm in the wrong place to watch it in reality. All right, so let's watch it on the map then, because I really want to see if this... Right, so what happened there? Let's go back to there. It's supposed to be unloading here, and for whatever reason, it's not unloading. Put it on manual. Right, why is this not unloading? Because there is... So it should be unloading. We've got a rail signal. Ah, we don't have a wire from there to there. Okay, that's fixable. Let's go fix that. So I've had all sorts of trouble with... I can explain how it's gone wrong. Let's head off over there. So it's this issue with the requester station getting a signal of 1 incoming train when no trains are incoming. So the combinators are set up so that they say, call in a train for rails, for example, if we need rail and there isn't an incoming train. So if the signal for incoming trains gets stuck on high, then even if it needs a rail train, it won't call one in because it thinks there's a train incoming for something. And you get the converse happening where, right, so if I put a wire from that arm to there, now it works. Yeah. So conversely, if I have a situation where it's got in an incorrect state, and then I clear the station and put it back, depending on timings, if I have multiple inputs, all the inputs light up, which brings in one train for each type of input. But because the unloading is controlled by circuit conditions, let's click on one of these to show you. Right, there. No, there. So this is enabled when it's receiving a signal of POTS is greater than 0. It receives a signal of POTS is greater than 0 when there is a train coming in assigned to POTS. Now, if a train comes in for POTS and for rail to the same requester at the same time, both signals are high, so both sets of arms are on. And then hilarity ensues of the crying kind. Anyway, you can see these are being made. We've made 3 stacks, which, you know, I'm not overjoyed about, but it's better than none. Now, this contrasts with gold science. We have made 0 gold science because we are waiting on blue circuits and robot frames. Now, let's quickly scoot down. Here's the blue circuit build. So this has managed to make 3.9k. So we are 100 circuits, blue circuits off being able to get this resource in. And the frames, this needs to be at 2. It's at 1.9. So I think we are nearly there on this as well. So we should get trains coming in quite soon for these 2 resources. In fact, if we don't, then there's an issue with trains. So let's spend this moment to sort out naming. Right, so this is right, this site makes robot frames, doesn't it? Not engines. So let's first of all fix that. Flying robot frame. Right, I wish there was a UI for choosing these things. I'm going to copy the whole of this and hit enter. Okay, so that's now at least the right map marker. Let's go down to here. So this is flying robot frame 1. No, not the lubricant side. Good. All right, then we have this station here, which is flying robot frame sulfur. Good. And then this one I'm just calling flying robot frame, even though it brings in other materials. So those names are fixed. This is by far and away my most complex compound build. And I wouldn't build it exactly like this if I did it again, but it does appear to work. Okay. So, how are we doing still? 1.9, it's just teasing me now. Oh, blue chips train. Great, so I'm going to click on that and see what it actually does, because it should go to gold science, but you know, I'm not entirely confident that it will. Other things, yeah, so power has been a consistent problem. I have altered my solar panel stamp that goes down the middle of the rails. It's now 2 panels wider each side. It's still a sensible size to stamp down, but that bit more capacity. We've gained some land, so I've stamped them down on the new land as well. So I think I've added about half again solar panels, and I've more than trebled the number of accumulators we had. And once this train has filled, I'll show you back at the main site what the builds look like to manufacture this stuff, because I've actually ended up giving up and used the beaconed machine builds for it. So we'll have a look at them when we get back. So the beaconed machines are really cool. It's allowed these very compact, minimal builds to work, but they really chew through power. I don't know how well it's been balanced. I mean, I've got no particular beef however way. When you do 8 or 12 beacon builds in a normal game, you share a lot of beacons between machines. And I'm never very aware of the power use because I do these huge arrays of them. Here we're doing individual machines, just a few of them. But the few beaconed machines we're using are nearly all of our power consumption. So that's something to think about. I have to be really careful about where to use them. I can't just blindly upgrade everything to the fastest machines because I just cannot supply the power. What I've ended up doing is all the end-of-line dead-end resource patches, which I do not think I'm going to be harvesting anytime soon. I've just been paving over with accumulators. A couple of places have been mined out, and as you saw, I'm then infilling those with accumulators. I can always uncover those dead ends again in future to make room for more builds if I wish to. Right, off we go. But right now, the pressing concern is getting the power stable and getting the power to scale. Now, I should be moving on to nuclear, but I think as I showed you last time or the time before, my nearest patch of uranium is way, way away. And would require me to battle my way through quite a lot of the maze to get there. And without nukes or personal laser defenses, well, I won't get nukes because I haven't got uranium. So without personal laser defenses, that's just not practical. It's not going to be happening. So this is my best bet at the moment, just to get enough solar down that everything ticks over for us to get purple and gold science in the labs, at which point I can buff everything I can, get the suit which will allow me to fit personal lasers and actually wade through the monsters with them. Okay, this is going to Dragonster 16, which is a gold science station which I have not yet renamed. So here we are. I'm going to look at that on the map. And that is unloading successfully. Good. So these have the gold machines have the blue circuits they need. They have the low density structures they need. They just need those robot frames. Yeah, that's a coal machine up there. That's okay. There's a queue here. What's going on? Right, we've got a radar problem because I took up a radar, didn't I, and then didn't put one back down again. Okay, that's a problem to fix. In fact, let's go fix that because that's just frustrating. Back to the temporary. Right. In fact, it's not the temporary I wanted to go to, is it? And now I have no idea where it's gone. Because I don't remember where I sent the temporary stop to. Right, let's try this again. I want it to go to that one. It's all a bit confusing. Right, I have had to put in lines of lasers behind the walls. It's just, I cannot get enough firepower out of these with the current tech level. So lasers is the way to go. Right, what's going on there? Let's go have a look at that train. So I think it's over here somewhere. Is it here? No. Here. Right, so just... Okay, so I've left a little collection of turrets there. You can see I haven't paved all this area yet with solar panels. I'm more focused upon getting all the accumulators down. So if we click on here, you can see what I mean. So I've got 16K solar panels, only 12K accumulators. If we look at 1 hour, you can see my solar panels are supplying my power needs, and we're just not keeping the accumulators going. The steam engines do a bare minimum that just, they just about keep everything going. So I need another 3,000-4,000 solar panels to mean the steam engines don't need to work at all. And I need, well, just way more accumulators. You can see these aren't even really going down. Right, hello. I wanted to go and... I can't actually even remember what it was I wanted to check. Okay, so that stop and go, because I don't want to have the train going out to the middle of nowhere. Oh, I was going to put a radar down so we could actually see the power station. It's nice seeing all the trains parked. So, having done this large build with Train Supply Manager. So previously with Train Supply Manager, I've basically got as far as automating ores and early game products. I've never done this kind of megabase complexity of build. It's not a megabase scale of traffic by any means, but it's, I think you could reasonably call it a megabase size complexity of build. And I see why people use LTN. So the issue I have with LTN is that it's just complicated. I find it very complicated to work out how to use it. Whereas Train Supply Manager I find pretty simple. There's two modes to use Train Supply Manager that make sense to me. One is that you have a train dedicated to a particular production center. It goes there, it fills up as quickly as the production center will allow. Then it goes to a parking space and then is distributed across a number of consumers. So that, and you might have, say, 10 iron mines, each with a train. They then all fill up as quickly as they can at their own mines. Then they go off to a single supply stop for iron. And then you have a bunch of iron consuming places which request in iron trains. So that model works fine. And it works particularly well for the things which don't really have an upstream chain, like ore. And potentially plates, because it's quite a short upstream supply chain. So the opposite way would be if you had one consumer, for example, Yellow Science is the only thing that consumes blue circuits until you're launching satellites. It is. So you can imagine having it the opposite way around, where you have one train which is at your gold science, and then it has a bunch of blue science production sites which call in empty trains, right? And as soon as they call in an empty train, that train comes to that site and gets sent straight off to the yellow science. So you can see it that way. And the way I've got it set up, I have an empty stacker and a full stacker for each of the intermediates. And I've tried to minimize intermediates by doing these single site builds, but there's only so far you can take that. So I have quite a few empty full station pairs. But the idea there is that I can scale both the consumer and the producer independently. Most of the time the consumers don't need a train unloading, and most of the time the producers don't need a train loading. So the idea is to really minimize the number of trains by having one or two trains servicing 10 or 20 producers and 10 or 20 consumers. That's the theory. In practice, because the direct insert is, a bit limited in what you can achieve. Well, you saw the heroics here for this build, right? So this goes all the way to robot frames, and so you can imagine you could have had a battery train, you could have had an electric engines train, we could have had a green circuits train. So there could have been a lot more trains. Wherever possible, I've worked hard to not have trains that I don't need. So here the blue doesn't even pull in red chips, even though red chips are made elsewhere. It's all done here. All the smelting happens on site. The only smelting, all the iron and copper smelting happens on site where iron and copper plates are needed. The steel smelting has to be done centrally, and I do brick smelting centrally. I couldn't make the maths work out, but it may work out a lot better with fully beaconed builds. So we'll be revisiting that when we do the end game fully beaconed versions. But early game it didn't work out. So that means we still have quite a few types of train, and I set up trains for various types of fluids, which probably the petroleum train is only needed currently because we have petroleum needed at the main factory at Gallifrey, where we make all our stuff. If we weren't making stuff, I wouldn't have a petroleum train because we go straight from the pumps into the refineries. The heavy oil is not needed because it's just turned into lubricant, so we do that. Light oil, so that's needed for making solid fuel, which becomes rocket fuel. That's currently only used for trains, but you can imagine setting up a site like this, which just goes directly from pumps through the pipeline into rocket fuel. And then you wouldn't need a train for any of the intermediates. So that's what I will be trying to move towards. All right, let's move over here and just double check we have... Yeah, we do have... No, the radar coverage isn't good enough, is it? We need to move this up one chunk. So for those of you who haven't played Factorio for long enough, the Factorio world is based around a grid of squares. And the squares are grouped together into 32 by 32 boxes, and the radars, you can see on the mini-map, the radars highlight a 5x5 group of chunks. I think it's 5x5. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 5x5. Double check. Yeah, so it's you and then it's the chunk the radar is in. You can see I'm moving this around within this chunk, and the highlighted box is not moving. If I move it out of this chunk in any direction, right. So lots of things work on chunks. Pollution is chunk aligned, for example, and so on. All right, so how are we doing? Let's go have a look at this build again, because I'm 2K. Right, so this should be calling in a robot frames train. Maybe there is no robot frame train. That is possible. Okay, so let's double check. Okay, we have a hyphen there. We have a hyphen and a stack. Yeah, so I don't think I've made a train. Let's have a look up here. So we've got iron, petroleum, unnamed. Okay, so we have some spare capacity. I love the colours. I've got the train painter mod on, and that paints in trains with the colour of the resource they're containing. Okay, so this here... Don't know why that was stuck there. It must have been when I was shuffling things around. Alright. So I think I'm going to have to blueprint down a train and set up some station names. So I don't really want to put it in this. Do I want to put it in this area? I mean, it doesn't really matter where it goes. And all this will get shuffled around later. I'm going to put it here because it's a late game item. Okay, so this will become, rather than stack, full flying robot frame. All right. And then do we have a stop name stack? Yeah, we do. Empty robot frame. Good. Then I need to blueprint down a train. And I think I'm going to copy this one. I should have all blueprints for this stuff by now, but I don't. Right. The problem with blueprinting this down is that it will copy the schedule. Okay, so let's put that down there. I've put it in full on purpose because when I put it to automatic to be sent off, I want to guarantee that it goes to the empty place and parks before it gets any orders. So that's kind of the trick for that. You put it in a neutral station, or you put it in a in its full station. When you set the schedule and send it off, it should go to the. It should then take itself to the empty stop, and then get orders. So that's how I've been doing this. Right, this will be constructed in a minute, maybe. And how are we doing for purple? So this train here, we put on automatic. Let's send that away. Good, so now this is calling in a train. So there will, in a minute, be a rail train. There's currently only one rail train, which is perfectly reasonable, given that this is a comparably low volume item. We have, yeah, plenty of that. We're going to have to watch that, though, because rail doesn't stack particularly high, considering how much these consume. So I may have to put in a second or perhaps even a third or fourth rail train. I don't know. These builds are backed up, so it'll be able to fill up relatively quickly. But we'll know in 2, 3, 4 cycles how well that goes. So we've made 1K of this. That's pretty cool. Right, let's have a look down here. So how are our science trains doing? we have green and red backed up. The blue and military are not backed up. I'm not particularly surprised. 6.3k, so that's almost ready to go. And this is on 5k, this is on 6.8. So again, we're not far off. I'm not sure what's going on here. We seem to have a lot of orange. Something has gone wrong here. So these are full. That's not. Okay, let's go investigate. That's a worrying problem. So we want to go to... We want to go to the blue build and double check what's going on, because I don't like the idea at all that only some of the boxes unloaded. But looking here, there's blue in all of these, which means that whichever train came in here must have... Okay. No idea. All right, let's have a look at these. So, that's nearly full. And that's embarrassingly even. Okay, so why are these stopped? No red chips. Okay, and why does this have red chips? So... Okay, so this would make me think the problem. I'm going to empty this out because that's quite a few more stacks, and 4.6k, 5.2. Right, so that's 4.6, that's now 4.6. All right. So let's have a look. So our red circuit trains are empty. Let's have a look at the red circuit builds and check there isn't one of those which is hinky. Okay. This is a lot of what's going on at the moment. I'm just going around finding the snags and trying to fix them. Well, first of all, trying to understand them and then trying to fix them. But it's quite a large site, as you can see. So, yeah, it takes a while. It takes a while to get around for looking at those things that you have to see in person. All right, so still haven't sorted out these names. This still wants robot frames. And 2k. So this now wants a robot frame. Okay, so what's going on here? This build has been killed by mixed resources. Okay, so... Alright, so the... I now have to purge this. All right. So there's now potentially going to be... This has 5.4k and this has 7. Right, so I just need to void all of these. Otherwise, a train will come in and it will... so the reverse has happened here. So this has 2k, this has 2k. So this should be copper. Right, so logistics on... Copper should be 50-50, iron should be 50-50. Okay, I'm just waiting for incoming. And we're going to fix this from this end. Right, is the next build affected? No. Yes. The bottom build is affected. Okay, so I'll have to go down these and fix them all. What an absolute nightmare. Right, do I have any active providers? I do. So for now I could dump some of this into active provider chests. Alright, so iron be gone. So these are all copper iron, copper iron. Okay, here we are. This. That's good, that's doing copper, 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 copper. Okay, we have an issue with... this is part of our mining. Okay, so... Difficult to know where to put this. In retrospect, I shouldn't have done this top build. Okay, let's head on down. Go around this. So this one looks good. And this one looks broken. Alright, so copper out. Ah, dear. Come on, take things. Good. And then the last one, rather annoyingly, the house bots are trying to be helpful by delivering me things I don't need. I wish there was a way to do this where you could disable logistics but still have trash. Do I still have trash? Oh, maybe I do, because last time I was in this situation I turned off my logistics and my trash stopped being collected. But if that doesn't happen anymore, that's really useful. Good. So in other news, I have been playing really retro games on Xbox, which has been entertaining. Alright, so my favourite one was Sable Wolf, which is a game that as a kid I never got close to completing. In fact, I couldn't get past the first couple of twists in the maze. But on the Xbox, with the Xbox controller, I got a lot further. I'm not going to pretend I completed the game, but I got a long way through it. Okay, let's clear all this. I want to add empty frames. circuit condition, full frames, circuit condition, put that on automatic. Then the other thing we need to do is ensure there is a schedule for robot frames. No, there isn't. Okay, so we will have a schedule for robot frames. Robot frame manufacture. Okay, this is a gripe with the UI. It jumps around a lot when you update things or when tickers time out. Also, I have to scroll all the way to the bottom to add the new thing on, which is frustrating when you have more than a handful. Right, but we can set this up. So this is going to full frames. So that should be all set up now. Alright, let's see if we can clear this out once and for all. Double check it's the copper I want rid of. No. Am I standing in a black spot? No, I'm not. Okay. Okay. Then I want to pick up my things. Here. Okay, and I can't because I'm full of junk. What more can I trash? Really don't need all those plates. Okay, let's head to Gallifrey, but in the meantime, I set up some active provider chests. I'm just going to deconstruct them. The construction bots can deal with it. So the Logibots won't empty from deconstructed containers. It's only construction bots which will. It's worth knowing that, because sometimes you definitely want to make sure that either construction or logistics bots move materials for you, and that's the way to guarantee it. All right, so let's head back. So this is the coal. This is here. Click on. Okay, there's no training coming. Empty robot frames. That is. Ooh. That's gone and picked up a load. That is so cool. And it's currently waiting on signals. Everything else seems to have priority for it getting out. So here we are. That's cool. That should be no. Let's send it back to there, and we're going to put it on automatic, and we are going to find out what went wrong. So that just went there and pinged and stopped, didn't it? Okay, let's have a look at that on the map. Okay, that is empty. Okay. So the problem's the other end. So let's take this to robot frame, and we'll stop off at one of the other stops. Okay, and we hope, so it must have gone there and then not picked up. So this has 8.6K input signal to Wow, it should only be wired to the first one. Okay, that's pretty awful. I'll have to go and fix this. I'm glad I'm going over there. But something was not... Yeah, this isn't right, is it? So is there a train incoming? Yeah, there is. So I'm going to continue watching this because I want to catch the train as it comes in and put it on manual. Okay, it's not loading, so it's something to do with the smarts. So we come in here. Alright, so first of all, we have this joined to this, which is legitimate. But then we have this joined... So it must have been while I was copy-pasting... Yeah, it would have been while I was copy-pasting things for the ARM smarts. Okay, so that's there. That's there, that's there. That's correct. That's the three things it should be measuring. Good. So we're requesting in, then this wire goes out to various arms. So this arm should be enabled when... Alright, we'll enable the one at the far end first. This should be enabled when frames is greater than 0. That's the arm there. Whoop. I just wanted to set the require... Okay, and this one here. So I think I've de-glitched that. The confusing thing is the circuits for calling in a train should only be attached to the boxes on the front that serviced from the front wagon, whereas the circuit for activating the inserters needs to go all the way down the train. So it's a bit of a pain to get right. I'm going to hop into this train and send this home because I want to have a ride along to see how this works. Okay. Now, at the moment, we've got a single arm filling the train. It's a bit of a pain. Typically on a site, you have many more loads of material being unloaded than you have loaded. So to keep the train stations relatively empty, I've been putting down 3 arms as a rule to unload a train. Once our stack bonuses are way up, that's not an issue. One would do, but I don't have the real estate to put down lots of arms for loading up material to go away from a station. So I've been using just 1 arm for that. It does mean things load slightly slowly, but you know, they unload quick, and most of the time is spent in transit anyway. When our stack bonuses are up, I may install an infinite... I don't know if I have installed. I may have or may need to install a stack bonus infinite research mod so that we can continue to buff how much material the arms move. I think in this kind of direct insert base, that's not particularly cheaty, and it's definitely a natural progression of the builds. It would mean we could get down to single arms pretty much everywhere. Which may actually free up some design choices which we don't currently have. So here we are. So how full are we? Oh, we're on manual. Right. So off we go. The rail network's handling the traffic pretty well now. So 2 things are really helping. I've re-engineered to have these curvy corners, which has got rid of essentially all the rail crossings, and the parking system is much more sensible now. There's a lot less cross traffic just from getting in and out of parking, so that's really helping. And the other another philosophical difference between LTN and TSM is that in LTN you buffer up all your materials at the stations. In TSM you buffer up all your material in the trains. So what I want to see is at least one full train at all times for each material. Obviously the ones where you have a single train, that's not possible, but you know, that should be the rule of thumb, shouldn't it? Okay, manual. So here we have a brownout. Let's see what happens when the power goes back. All right, so that's the sort of thing that can lead to trains disappearing, right? Because 5 seconds of inactivity, when the power goes out, well, it's inactive, isn't it? So there was just a brief moment in the middle of the night. Right. And we have 13K accumulators. So our solar production seems to be capped, right? So it's the accumulators we need to really work on. I can put down more solar because we've got all this space here, which I will put it down because it doesn't hurt. Right. So it just stamps down like this in the gaps. It's all locked into the right locations by the roboports, which is really convenient. The only slight glitch is I lose a couple of panels at the curvy corners, but you know, it's not the end of the world, is it? There we go. And I don't have coverage up there, but that's not the end of the world. We have that remnant. Okay, and that just sort of ends because we haven't actually put down the infrastructure there. I'm not going to build here. It's too close to an end. So we've got this whole site here. You can see these worms are unhappy, but there's not a lot I can do, you know, and frankly, until I have the next tier of suit. So this is the sort of thing that's happening, right? They're coming in quite large waves of mixed blues and greens. At some point it'll be green and I'll be stuffed, but right now I'm okay. Right, so gold science is working. We have our first 60 gold science pots. Let's figure out what isn't building. We have something not building here. Okay, that's fixed. So this has 140, this has 72 because its speed was halved by only one machine working. That'll not be a problem in the long term. And then let's just have a quick look at purple. So that's the rail. We got more of this in, more of this in. Why is this light on and this one? So obviously the rail should be on, but why is purple on? That's weird. Let's go have a look. I think I'm close enough to walk. One of the benefits of having the rails laid out like this is if you walk at the edges, there are no trains. So I quite like that. Okay, so it looks like our rail builds have stressed. They were never designed to work with, to keep up with this beacon build, to be honest. Right, so if POTS is greater than 1.6K, so it should be 8K, shouldn't it? Yeah, so that's better. What's slightly more worrying is no train came in. All right. Let's head over here and check that we haven't got the same issue on this build. Yeah, we do. So this should be 8,000 for a full train. Now I could set this down lower and have more train trips, and that would result in us getting some science to the labs earlier, but yeah, that's not happening. I'm just gonna suck it up. We will just have a slower life. Okay, this green build is gonna have to be redesigned, but I will do that when we move over to fully beaconed stuff. I think we are still waiting. Yeah, we're still waiting on loads of accumulators, so there's no point putting down more accumulator blueprints yet, because we can't build the ones we've requested. Okay, so this is our robot frames train, which is quite rightly in the empty place. Why is this? Must have been a power outage issue. Right, so the next thing I'd like to do is try and clean up the science that we have in storage. And I had a go at doing that the other day and did it wrong, so I'd like to have a go at doing it again. Hopefully this time do it right. So I think what I'm going to do is put down some requester chests to request all of it, and then turn off my logistics, pick it all up, and then carry it over to the labs and distribute it out. We'll see how well that works. So once we have purple and gold science in the labs, which looks like it won't be too far off, we're back to doing research. And my big push is going to be on things to allow us to secure real estate so that we can fix the power problems. Because as soon as we have fixed power problems, we can then go hell for leather for beacon builds. So while I'd like to launch a rocket, that's kind of incidental to my main aim, which is to build the biggest possible rocket per minute base using direct insert train builds. Right, so I have no idea if how practical that is, but it's worth a go. And the reason I chose logistics is off. That's good. Good. Let's put all this in there. Is that everything? Yep, it is. So I can now get a requester chest. Good. We're going to request all the science. And I've got a feeling there won't be any of one of them, because research stopped at one point, so there must have been something that there wasn't any of. Just in case gold, I may have accidentally pocket crafted. Okay, that's all there, which is bizarre. Right, so take that. I'm just going to keep doing this for a bit. Okay, we're now out of reds. And this is where even distribution would be useful at this point. Okay, is there any more coming in? Yes, there is. Grief, how much more is there? quite a lot. Okay, let's just get it all. Whoa! Okay, that's insane. Okay, so something's gone hideously wrong at some point making science. And is that it? I really hope so. That is not what I expected at all. Okay. So let's go over to the labs and dump this in. And I'm going to go by foot. I haven't got fast feet in, but yeah, we'll chance it. I've not been run over for a while, so, you know, always good to chance these things, isn't it? What I need to do at some point is set up a dashboard that lets me know how we are doing for resources. Basically counts the trains that should exist, the trains which are requesting and the trains which are... Sorry, the trains which are empty and the trains which are full. I think that would be a nice thing to do. Alright. It might be easier to distribute these into a train. Yeah. I think distribute these into a train is better. But I can do the reds. Okay, let's get rid of those. The yellows, 3 stacks. Well, there's no good way to distribute 3 stacks. Okay, that's all of those. Oh, purples. Now, do we... Yeah, these are. This is a good place for purples. Is this the purple? No, that's gold. That's purple. There. Okay. There you are, that's all gone. Good. So braking force is a useful one. It helps the trains to move. Right. So these are currently set as full. So I'm not going to be able to dump the green in. This is... military. That's good. Right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows near enough. So if I... That's how to do it, I think. Okay, we'll see how well this works. So not quite 1 row, 1 row. Yeah, that's near enough for me. And then I'm going to send that to full, and then that can get distributed out. So I'm just left with the green science now, and really no idea what to do with it. It is a full train load. well, perhaps what I should do is dump it into one of the crafters, one of the crafting sites. Okay, so this is the first red. It is backed up. Second red's backed up. First green is running. Good, so we can start filling these up. That's great. So I really want to stick one row of pots into one box, but this will really have to do. Okay. So how far off are we? This has 2 extra stacks. This has loads of extra stacks. So that is 8.6, 8.6, 8.2, 7.6. So 8.2, 8.2, 8.6, 8.6. I think if I take 2 from there and 2 from there, that's 8.4 all the way. Cool. So that's got rid of the greens. Now I can do more braking force. I can do efficiency module 3s. I'm pretty low on things I can do with purple. I think I'm going to do braking force because this is a train base. And I will queue up module. I'm not really using efficiency modules. Can I do landfill? So what is landfill on the way of? Maze terraforming and water fill. I don't really want to use either of those. That's not really my thing. So automated logging of mangroves. I have no idea what that is, so that looks quite fun. I might have a play with that. And then Covarex, reprocessing, and lab speed. Okay, so there's very little chance of those completing, but we're going to go with it. Right, let's have a look and see how our science is progressing. So this is up to 885, which is a good place to be. This is up to 2.4, so they should be coming in relatively soon. But I'm not going to sit here and make you watch as I count. What I am going to do is run down to the trains. So ideally what I would like is a train logistics combinator, which let me read off the stats of all the trains which are parked. Let me show you what I mean. So if we went to... So there are various combinators, power switches and things. What I ideally want is one where I can... Yeah, that's not it. Where I can put it down, maybe attach it to a rail stop or something, I don't know, and read off a tally of trains and schedules. So how many trains are assigned to a particular resource? Because then I can make a bar chart of it with lights. Let's check there's nothing... Yeah, I can't see anything in one of the others that would do the job. Right, so the other option is to do it manually. So every one of these train supplier stops has a signal. All right. can't craft that because I dumped all my things in a box. So let's go pick up everything that I put in the box. Then we can run back here and have a quick sketch of what it could look like. I don't know how sensible an idea it is, but it's my idea. Okay, so let's run over to this. Good. Then I can turn logistics back on again. Thank you, I really appreciate that. Made my day. All right. So we have a bunch of trains here. And we have a bunch of signals. This signal is red if the train is parked, because the train blocks the signal. So that tells me if there's a train here. Now, if I craft... Maybe I had to do it with decider combinator. The thing is where to put it. So it could go here. We would have to connect this. Right, so then this would read the signal. And we need to oh, there's a better way to do this. Okay, so it requires 2 bits of kit rather than 1. But I think it's going to behave better. Okay, so we have that. Okay, so then I connect up the 3 like this. Then the output of this, let's use an arithmetic. Didn't need to craft another one, did I? Don't know if this will work. Let's try it. Right. And it will need power. Okay. So what I want to do is I kind of want to do the input times red. All right. So red signals times, and I want the everything. So where is that? Maybe I can't put it that side. Maybe, so each times red signal. The output is each. So that's a reusable bit of logic. And then what I can do is set the item here. So this train is space science, right? So the output here is 1 red and 1 space science. Except I really only want the space science output. The benefit of doing it this way is that I can set this and it now outputs the right thing. Okay. Whereas I could take a decider combinator okay, and then it would be red signal greater than 0, output 1, gold science. Okay, so that outputs 1 gold science. Sorry, 1 space science. Can I... Right, let's take that, I'm going to edit out the pole and the rail and this signal. Okay, now this is red. It's all very manual, this. Because it's manual, it's prone to me doing it wrong. And getting run over. Okay. So that is that. Then I can hook up all of these. Okay, so that is saying we have a military, a blue and purple, gold and white train on empty. And that's on the green wire. So the green wire, for now, okay, let's take that all the way to the top. Okay, I'm aware I could have blueprinted all that. So then I can copy all of that and put it there. Except I don't want green wire on the output. I want red wire. Okay, so let's copy that just for completeness. I didn't want the signal in the blueprint. Okay. Get rid of the signal. Okay, so now I should be able to read off what's in the red and green. We can take some lights. Okay, and then it becomes an issue of readability. So let's set up the circuit first. Let's put down a power pole. This can be joined in too far away. All right. So that's connected up. Then I connect one of these to the green, one of these to the red, and this is enabled if red. This is enabled if red. Okay. And what I'm missing is something in the middle to tell us that it is red science. Whoops, I don't think I want large plates, I think I want small. Let's see what these different colors look like. Okay. I'm just going to put a few down on the floor so we can see them. Okay, and can I trash anything else? Yep. Was that copper? Glass. Okay, copper, glass, steel, brick. Quite like the brick, to be honest. Did I make iron plates? Copper, glass, steel, stone. Yeah, maybe I didn't make iron. Which of those do I like? I think I prefer these, the steel. Okay. So that was steel. So how much more steel can I make? Let's make a bunch. Then I can pick up the steel. I can go to this and type in what I want. So this would be... Okay, let's see how... So that's how big that ends up being. So that's really big for a really small light, which doesn't work for me. I mean, it looks great zoomed out, but a great big dashboard of these with just two lights, one for whether we've got a full train and one for if we've got an empty train. I'm not seeing that. So this is an idea that I don't think we're quite ready for yet. So I'm going to delete this as one of those ideas which maybe we'll revisit. I'm about to wrap this up, but just before we do, let's have one last check on the sciences. So this is crafting. This is up to 2.9k, which is really good. This is up to 1.8, so 2.9 is nearly 3. We're nearly there. You can see all the build orders. They're mostly capacitors. We're really working on that. Our power situation is still not great. Okay. Apparently we can produce 5 gigawatts and we're producing 1. It's the accumulator charge. So we've produced so much power from solar that the steam engines don't cut in. We just are not matching it with accumulators to keep everything going through the night. Oh, actually, I'm wondering if the reason nothing's happening here is because this is completely run out of coal. Yep, it has completely run out of coal. Why on earth has that run out of coal? It's requesting coal. This is not getting coal. There are no coal trains. We have full coal trains. Okay, this is not calling a coal train because it's outputting a T. So I have no idea. I don't know why this isn't calling in coal. That's going to be a job for next time. I've pretty much start overrun here, and it's time for me to go to sleep. So, no idea. And the only way I can fix it is to physically go down and give the tyres a kick to try and figure it out. And I've seen loads of trains coming down, so it's not like... just baffled. So this should be activated when coal is below 5k. Coal is clearly below 5k. This is an output signal of 1. This is active when the incoming train is less than T. It's pulling in from there. The output signal is T. So I have no idea. Let's just put up a wire here. We can... So there is a T, there is no train. No trains on the way. It's getting a T. Don't know. All I can think is it's this thing with running out of power is confusing everything. But I think this is where I'm going to leave it. There's not a lot I can do about out of power until all of those capacitors get placed down. That's really what we need. So until then, I'm probably going to have a while when we just get all this built. So I'll be back in a few more hours of gameplay. I promise you I'll be back when trains start delivering science. So until then, thanks so much for watching. Please stay home and stay safe, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.